What if I told you that hope, the thing that gets us out of bed, that whispers to us in the dark, might also be the most beautiful lie we've ever believed? Imagine for a moment that every dream, every goal, every prayer you've ever made was built not on truth, but on illusion. Would you still chase it? Or would you stop running altogether? The question itself is unsettling, because hope feels so natural, so necessary. But what if the very thing that keeps us alive is also the thing that blinds us to reality? Hope has been humanity's oldest drug. It keeps us alive, but it also keeps us from seeing clearly. It gives us strength, but it also chains us to fantasies we may never reach. And yet, despite its contradictions, we can't seem to live without it. We hope because, without hope, existence would feel unbearable. It's the lifeline we clutch when the waves of life threaten to drag us under. From the moment we're born, we are taught to hope. We hope our parents will love us, that our friends will stay, and that the world will reward our effort. And when it doesn't, we still keep hoping. Because to lose hope is to admit defeat, and that's something the human spirit resists at all costs. We learn, almost instinctively, that hope is safety, hope is survival, hope is meaning. Philosophers throughout history have wrestled with this paradox. Friedrich Nietzsche called hope the worst of all evils because it prolongs the torments of man. He saw it as a cruel trick, something that prevents us from seeing reality as it truly is. Yet, without it, we might collapse into despair. Hope, in his view, is both medicine and poison, a comfort that secretly torments us. In contrast, Albert Camus, the apostle of the absurd, didn't see hope as a virtue or a curse, but as an illusion that we must eventually transcend. For Camus, the point wasn't to hope for a better world, but to embrace the absurdity of this one and still live with passion. He believed that once you give up the dream of meaning, you gain the freedom to create your own. To live fully without illusions, yet still with joy, is perhaps the highest form of courage. So what is hope really? A lifeline or a lie? Maybe both. Because hope is not just an emotion, it's a survival mechanism. It's the mind's way of saying, keep going. The future might be different, even when there's no proof that it will be. Every major religion, every philosophy, every self-help book builds on this foundation. Hope that you'll be saved, that your suffering has purpose, that tomorrow holds redemption. It's what drives revolutions in art, love stories and wars. It is both personal and universal, intimate and collective, shaping human history in ways we rarely recognize. But hidden beneath this grand illusion is a quiet truth. Hope is also a form of denial. It denies the finality of loss, the inevitability of death, and the randomness of existence. When we say things will get better, we're not describing reality. We're rewriting it, in our minds, to make it bearable. And yet, that rewriting is precisely what allows us to endure. Hope allows us to live another day, take another risk, love another person, even when the odds are stacked against us. Imagine a world without hope. No one would try again after failure. No one would love again after heartbreak. Civilizations would crumble, creativity would die. Hope keeps us building sandcastles even as the tide comes in. But maybe, just maybe, that's not a weakness. Maybe that's what makes us divine. Because even if hope is a lie, it's a lie we choose to believe. A lie that paints color over the gray walls of existence. We tell ourselves stories about the future because without them, the present would be unbearable. But there's a dark side to this, too. Hope can become an addiction. We start living not for today, but for tomorrow. We wait for signs, for miracles, for the right time. We postpone life itself, hypnotized by the promise that something better is coming. How many dreams die in the waiting room of hope? How many people stay in unhappy relationships, unfulfilling jobs, or toxic habits, all because of that whisper? Maybe it'll change? Hope, in this way, becomes a trap disguised as light. It keeps us from making peace with what is. It lures us into the future while the present rots away. The Stoics warned about this. They said, Do not hope for events to happen as you wish, but wish for them to happen as they do. For them, peace was not found in hoping, but in accepting. Epictetus believed that only when you release the grip of expectation can you find true freedom. To live without hoping for outcomes that may never come is not pessimism, it's clarity. It's the strength to face life on its own terms, not on the terms we demand. Yet even then, there's something magnetic about hope. It refuses to die. Like a candle that flickers but never goes out, it survives every storm. You lose everything. And still, a tiny voice inside whispers, "Try again." That's not logic. That's something else entirely. Maybe hope isn't meant to be rational. Maybe it's the language of the soul. Because even in our darkest moments, when reason abandons us, hope stays. It's the invisible thread that ties us to life. We may curse it, we may doubt it, but we still reach for it in the end. So what are we to do with this paradox? Do we kill hope, as Nietzsche suggested, or embrace it blindly, as the dreamers do? The answer, perhaps, lies in balance. Hope becomes dangerous only when it blinds us to reality. But when we use it consciously, when we hope without attachment, it becomes something sacred. It's not about expecting the world to change. It's about allowing yourself to move forward, even when it doesn't. That's the quiet power of mature hope. It's not loud or naive. It doesn't promise salvation. It simply says, "I will continue." And maybe that's all we ever need to say. Hope, in its most profound form, is not about waiting for something external to save us. It is the inner light that refuses to be extinguished, even when the world seems determined to snuff it out. It is the quiet resilience in the human heart, the pulse that says, "I exist. I will act. I will continue." And yet, so often, we mistake hope for passivity. We hope for change instead of making it. We hope for love instead of giving it. We hope for meaning instead of creating it. True hope, the kind that sustains us, demands courage, action, and honesty. Consider the paradox. Hope is both a comfort and a challenge. It comforts us in suffering, yes, but it also dares us to rise above our despair. Without hope, the artist would not paint, the philosopher would not question, the explorer would not venture beyond known horizons. Hope gives birth to vision, but vision without grounding can be destructive. A hope untethered from reality becomes a fantasy. A hope clinging to illusions can imprison us. The delicate balance lies in recognizing that hope is not a guarantee. It is a choice, a conscious act to keep moving forward in the face of uncertainty. History is full of examples where hope changed the course of events. People have rebuilt societies after collapse, found love after loss, and invented entire worlds from the ashes of their failures. Hope does not prevent suffering, but it transforms suffering into purpose, endurance, and growth. Those who understand this are not naive. They are survivors of life's relentless storms. They have learned that hope is not a shield from pain, but a compass to navigate it. Yet, modern life complicates this ancient philosophy. We are bombarded with stories of success, promises of fulfillment, and images of perfection. We are taught to hope endlessly, to expect miracles, to imagine a future where everything aligns perfectly. And when reality inevitably fails to meet these expectations, despair often follows. This is the dangerous face of hope, the version that deceives rather than sustains. To survive, we must distinguish between hope as an active force and hope as a passive wish. Active hope is the fuel for our own efforts. Passive hope is the trap that keeps us waiting. So, how can we cultivate hope without being deceived by it? First, we acknowledge reality as it is, without embellishment. We accept loss, failure, and impermanence as fundamental aspects of life. This does not mean giving up, it means seeing clearly. In clarity, hope becomes precise, directed, and resilient. It is no longer an illusion, but a tool. We hope not because the universe owes us something, but because we have the power to act, even in the smallest ways, to create a future worth living. Second, we detach hope from rigid outcomes. We hope for improvement, for growth, for connection, but we do not demand them. When hope is flexible, it survives setbacks. When hope is attached to expectations, it becomes fragile. Think of hope as a river rather than a fixed destination. It flows, it adapts, it nourishes, but it does not insist that the waters reach a specific shore. In this sense, hope is freedom, not chains. Third, we transform hope into presence. The future is uncertain, the past unchangeable, but the present is always accessible. When we anchor hope in the now, we turn it into action, gratitude, and creation. We no longer rely solely on what may come, but on what we can do today. A single act of courage, compassion, or creativity can be more powerful than years of passive hoping. Presence is the bridge between hope and reality. Finally, we recognize the sacred nature of hope. Even when it is a beautiful lie, even when it deceives us with visions that may never manifest, it is still a force that drives life forward. To hope is to affirm existence, to declare that our lives matter, that our actions matter, that tomorrow is not meaningless. This is not naive optimism. It is a conscious embrace of life's mystery, a defiance of despair, and a celebration of the human spirit. In the end, hope is neither entirely true nor entirely false. It is a paradox, a necessary illusion, a lifeline that sustains us and challenges us simultaneously. The beautiful lie of hope keeps us going not by guaranteeing happiness or fulfillment, but by giving us reason to act, to create, and to endure. To live without hope may seem honest, but it is incomplete. To live blindly in hope may seem comforting, but it is dangerous. To live wisely with hope is to walk the fine line between illusion and truth, courage and realism, suffering and joy. Now, I invite you to reflect. What is your relationship with hope? Are you using it as a compass or a crutch? Are you waiting for the world to change, or are you creating the change yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments, because your perspective might inspire someone else to see hope differently. Remember this: hope is not a promise, but a choice. It is the quiet voice that whispers, "Continue, even when it is hard. Continue, even when the world resists you. Continue, because you are alive, and life itself is worth the effort." Embrace it consciously. Act through it. Let it guide you, not blind you. If this reflection resonated with you, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, because we explore the deepest questions about life, philosophy, and the human spirit together. Let hope be your guide, but let wisdom be your companion. Keep moving forward, and remember, sometimes the most beautiful lies are the ones that help us find the truth.